If you've ever needed to remind yourself to take a deep breath because there's all sorts of stuff going on, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading where there is always stuff going on. We're going to get some more of that here today. We're going to break this down, make some money. Let's get it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks. Hello and welcome. Shaka, hit that like. It'll feed kittens. You're always going to get that highlighted. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces to the show. We've got some stuff to go over and some money to be made. But before we can do any of that, we need to bring on my main man, 13. 13, how you doing here today?
I'm doing pretty good. Got some good sleep, ready to trade, even though there's a bunch of junky names out there, but we'll still try.
Hey, we're going to make the most of what the market gives us. Whatever hand the market deals us, we're going to play that one out. The other thing is, and we've talked about this, you never know when the next good trade is going to happen. So it's going to be up to you to be ready. So we're going to do everything that we can to prepare ourselves for whatever this market gives us here today. You ready to dive right into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We're going to start with the SPY here first, as we always do. Look at this move. No pullbacks allowed, folks. You heard it here. There are no pullbacks allowed in this market. In sarcasm. In any case, we did break above this 50-day. We've broken above the trend line. We now have 3 positive closes. The market just seems to keep going up. We were kind of pushing up against 560 here today. We haven't closed above that, so it'll be interesting to see if we can take that out here in the regular session. Next area up, this is really a simple one. It's going to be your all-time high here, right around that 565 handle. We'll see if we end up getting that. Nothing has changed here. I think we're both still in the boat that we believe this market needs to pull back. We talked to Matt. Remember, we talked to Matt Malley yesterday. Thinks maybe we go up towards those highs, maybe even a little bit more, but ultimately we need to kind of come back in. That sure seems to be the case. 13, what do you think here about the where the market is right now in the action?
Well, I agree. I've just been saying since yesterday and last week that this is just the quickest recovery we've ever had, with the VIX spiking over 60 and then coming back under 20 in less than a week or two. That's the quickest it's ever done that. And now we have the SPY chart on the daily. We can see that every day we've been making a higher high than the previous day ever since we bottomed on August 5th. There's only one day that didn't happen. That was August 8th. But every other day since that bottoming, we have made higher highs. So that's one thing to look at. And now as far as targets go, still looking at that all-time high of 565 and 16 cents. To get there, we have a gap to fill on the way up. That starts at 560 and 51 cents, and that fills at 562 and 10 cents. So I anticipate that we'll see that fill today. We're right on the doorstep of it, so that would be the next thing that happens. And then after that, all-time high. So what happens when we get to the all-time high? Do we double top? That's sort of what I'm looking to happen. But we have seen time and time again since August 5th that our expectations just continue to get blown out of the water. So for now, I'm just going to say maybe we double top here. But if not, let's not be surprised, because this market has been relentless.
Yeah, one of the other things, we've really kind of had this discussion a lot recently on Happy Hour, so might as well put it on the table here as well. Algos, which are clearly driving this market for the most part, seem to want to inflict as much pain as possible on the retail trader. In fact, one of the gentlemen in the Happy Hour program worked with a guy at Morgan Stanley that programmed some of these algos and confirmed that for us. So clearly what they're trying to do is cause the most pain to the retail traders. I'm going to draw you up a hypothetical situation, 13. You ready for this? Yes. I would not be surprised if we do get this double top and then we pull back just a little bit and then we break that top on the third attempt, only to then reverse and flush. So I almost think you're going to kind of get one more fake out here at the all-time highs. Then you're going to get the bull trap move, break into new highs. That's going to suck in people that are, okay, it's time to go bullish, and then just puke them out on the backside of the move. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens either. We'll see. The reality is that I don't feel confident predicting any scenario, so I'm just going to stay ready to react to whatever scenario we get. Sorry,
I,
what were you going to say?
I'll go one step further, because I kind of like what you're thinking there.
Yeah.
Maybe we double top, and as soon as we start trading down, the buy the dippers are like, well, this is the next dip to buy, and that's the one that gets them hurt badly.
Yeah.
Just a thought. Not saying that that's what's
Yep.
going to happen, but I'm still thinking that this market has a duty to come back in so that we can continue to go higher.
And you bring up another point there. You know, I just wouldn't be shocked if it's just kind of delaying this a little bit and then just kind of trapping as many people as possible. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Okay, sorry. I thought you were saying something there. I was leaving you an opening. Let's go and roll through some of the movers. We do have a number of stocks moving here today. Yes, we will get to Tesla. Yes, we will get to NME, but we're going to start with some of these names here first, and then we'll move over there. First one here on the list is going to be TGL, and this is Treasure Global. I'll be honest, this one, not a whole lot going on here. Didn't really see any news. Kind of feels like a pump. Traded up to 250, came right back in. So far, it's doing a decent job holding this 150. VWAP right above at 179. We'll see if we take that out. This is really going to have to set up for me. I don't really believe this as being a great trade here today. If it shows us a trade, we'll see. But this is not going to be the top one on my list. 13. Do you have anything here on TGL, Treasure Global?
No news. 1.475 million shares in the float, so very small. It did a 1-for-70 reverse split on February 27th earlier this year. And of course, like many of these small companies, they need cash. So I don't know that they'll do an offering today. They might, depends on how high it goes. But one thing that I'd like to see, if I'm going to even consider trading this, is I'd like to see a recapture of the VWAP. There's not a whole lot of space between the VWAP and where it's at right now, so I'm not particularly interested in trying to get a trade up to the VWAP. So the thing that's been holding it down since after it had this run early in the morning has been the VWAP. So let's see a recapture of that first, and then maybe there'll be some better trades on the higher side of VWAP.
Good stuff there. Ticker TGL. Next here is going to be ticker TTNP. This is Titan Pharma, and this is actually moving on a news from yesterday here. So you could see we actually traded up to 12. This stock was $6 in the regular session. We traded up to 12 in the after hour session. We actually took that 12 spot out twice this morning in the pre-market. Now, since then, we've kind of bled back. We've actually used the VWAP as resistance, which for sure is going to be on deck here once the market opens. Stock is still up 85.5% here. Now, what's going on here? Titan Pharmaceuticals enters merger and contribution and share exchange agreement regarding a business combination with KESDN BHD. Now, this, I believe, is a Malaysian company. We were looking at this a little bit in the happy hour yesterday. There were some things here that I can't really figure out. So I'm kind of just watching this and playing the technicals on this. If anyone can make sense of this merger, I'd love for you to share that with the group here. I don't see any like takeout price or anything like that. It's clearly been active here today. The volume has actually been pretty decent here in the pre-market. So I'm curious to see if we get the same type of volume here in the regular session. 13. I know we're kind of scrambling around on this one. Anything that you have on this one?
They have to go through the Form 8 to see exactly what the terms of this merger are, and I just didn't have enough time to really get through it and process it. Yeah. Didn't really see the figures being thrown around, so I'm not sure. But this does have a 742,000 share float. So if this is going to provide trades, it's going to whip around probably quite a bit. Did a 1-for-20 reverse split on January 9th earlier this year. And that's about all I've had on it. I don't really have a big read on the financials, except they have $4 million in cash. They burn through half that every quarter. So I don't think they need to raise money right now. Their runway seems to be enough for at least 6 months. But yeah, I don't really know what the merger agreement's going to the merger is going to look like in terms of what kind of value can we attach to this stock. So sorry, I don't have that for you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, that's totally fine. Like I was putting a call out to the group here. You folks are looking into TTNP. Definitely share it with us. Now, one of the things I will say here is that we have some pretty clear trading levels on this stock, right? So first of all, using smoked tunas, just wait the weakness out and buy the weakness. If we flush or pull back down here to 8, this was a pretty clear support level from the after hour session yesterday that we have not tested yet today. I'd be interested to see what the price does here, if we maybe kind of reverse and trade back up here. If that's the case, VWAP is here at 1061. We'll see what it is if it does come down to 8, maybe about 1050-ish level there. But that's a pretty decent trade. I mean, if we hold this support level and trade back up to the VWAP, and you're looking at maybe 2+ points, that can make the entire day here. So I don't want to write this off yet with what's going on. Definitely want to see how it trades in the regular session here. And I really want to see some more volume kind of flow into this name. That should make it a little bit easier for our group to hit it.
Yeah, and folks, I do see some tickers in the chat. I'm writing them down, so we'll get to those after we go through these movers here. So just hang tight with us. We'll get to those tickers.
You know what? We don't have a ton here, so we should have plenty of time. I know we got 15 minutes left. We should be able to run through this. I can pick it up too, 13.
And
make sure you keep cracking that whip, baby. Sorry, what's that?
TGL actually trying to get back above its VWAP right now. So there may be something here if we can hold above that. Just something to watch. I just noticed it was doing it. But anyway, let's move on.
Okay, next one here is going to be Haramba. I almost wanted to say Harambe there, but I didn't. Anyway, this is ticker PITA. This thing traded all the way up to 6 and has almost been cut in half just from this morning here. We're back down to the support level, about 3 that we carved out here in the pre-market. We're trading sideways and consolidating a little bit here. I actually think that that's really good to see, especially when the volume dies off, right? We didn't continue to break down here. So again, let's maybe back burner this, see if this sets up here. I'm glad to see a lot of that impulse move already sold out of this. That should actually be pretty decent for a trade. So we'll see if we can get a curl and a move back to the VWAP here. Did you have anything on PETA?
This is one of the movers today that I just don't really have a big read on. There's no news. It's got 2.7 million shares in the float. Don't really see much in the way of income statements or financials. I guess they have a million in cash, but I really don't have a good read on this one. So I don't know. I probably won't even touch this one.
Okay, there you go. PETA. Next here is going to be AUUD. This is Audia. I feel like we've traded this one here on this show off the relative volume scanner a number of times. This morning, we actually have a press release here. Audia shares trading higher after the company announced the launch of Theta 3.1, which is an AI-based tool here. I'm not familiar with the product. I'm not familiar with the company and the suite of products that they have, but this is new AI functionality on one of their products. That's, of course, the AI buzzword, driving the stock up about 45% here today. We'll see if that holds. You can see the larger move that we already put in here off the drop of that PR has been completely sold off, or almost completely sold off. About a 75% retracement here. We've tried to bounce, couldn't get to the VWAP. We'll see if this thing shows strength. My big thing here is that we talk about buying weakness, but there's got to be something else there. We'll see if AUUD sets up for a trade. Do you have anything on this one? 2.7 million floats. So maybe this is a little bit more in the wheelhouse from some of the low floaters that we're looking at.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like this company really doesn't have a whole lot in revenue. So what is this launch really going to do for them? They're making 50,000 a quarter. So I don't know how much more money they're going to make from this.
Yeah.
I guess it's great news that they have a product coming out, but aside from that, I didn't really cover this one. Just noticed that they, got 50,000 coming in on their income statement, under 2 million in cash. So probably not going to need to raise any money. Maybe they lose about 2 million a quarter. So too many question marks with me. If it provides a trade, and then great. Another one that I want to see get back above VWAP.
Yep. All of these, by the way, that we're taking a look at are day trade only, right? We're not talking about holding any of these. EVOC, here's another one, EVOK. You can see this one.
Yeah.
Man, really spiked above 14, came all the way back down to 769, kind of hanging out here. You can see they did have earnings. This was last week. There's been nothing since then. So it looks like kind of a delayed move here. EVOK. Next one, you didn't have anything on that one, right?
Just 709,000 shares. Did a 1-for-12 reverse split on August 1st.
Yeah, and there you go. Next one here is going to be RR. This is one that we've traded recently before. Rich Tech Robotics. So this started to run when we first took a look at Serve, ticker SERV. This popping here again in the pre-market. Did we have news on this? Yes, we did have a PR here this morning. Bestgrowthstocks.com issues a comprehensive analysis. Okay, we might want to read into that. Installation of one kitchen in Rockford, Illinois. It's about 45 minutes away from where I'm at, making its first humanoid drink robot. Say again.
Go check it out.
Probably not. Probably not, but that's what's going on here. So you actually do have a catalyst. Stock's up 25% here. Do with it what you will. Did you have anything here on ticker RR?
No. EVOC was the last one I looked at. I'd like to get to some of the ones that we're talking about in chat, because I think there might be some better ones to look at anyway, like Lunar.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do that. I'm at Neon is popping here. I don't really think there's a whole lot going on, but this one here is popping. But let's talk about that. Lunar. This will be a nice little move over to the other stocks that the chat wants to take a look at here. You can see this did ramp almost up to 540 here. What's going on with Lunar? Talk to us about it, 13.
Well, this was the one that launched the spacecraft to the moon. It landed and it famously tipped over, but it was still able to complete its mission. So that's that stock. The next thing that they are lined up to get is a contract from NASA for near-Earth satellites, and I don't know that they've received it yet. I don't think they have, but they could have, and they just haven't announced it yet. That's supposed to be announced or happen between now and the end of next month, when they're supposed to get that contract. That contract, I believe, has a time horizon of about 10 years, and is like worth 560 million or some figure like that. And it's not just for them; it's going to be for other projects as well. But it's out of a large chunk of money that they'll be getting contracts from. So this could, upon that news, this could really move. I think that's why Cantor Fitzgerald is bullish on it and wants a $10 price target. So that's something to watch for with Lunar. They've got a catalyst coming up with NASA getting a contract to them.
Yep. Okay. Really good stuff there on Lunar. I'm going to flip over to the bigger chart. Let's start running through some of the stocks that the chat was talking about. I'm going to start here with NNE. This is Nano Nuclear Energy. Here's what your daily chart looks like. Now, this one has been pretty incredible trade. There was a huge run up here past 35 back in June. They actually pulled this thing back to the mid-teens and then ran it back up 30 again in really short order. Now, since then, it's broken down. Remember, we actually asked Tim Melvin about this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about some of these nuclear stocks to trade. He didn't like this name, said that this was kind of a pretender. And even with that as an aside, this can still definitely be a trading vehicle. So I'm not necessarily looking at a longer term investment with this one, but we can actually trade this one. If we zoom in here, you can see what a move. I think this thing was up 30% yesterday. Just a really, really kind of a nice move. We popped again here in the pre-market, and we did so on some pretty decent volume. Now, we've retraced a lot of that move, so let's see what happens around the open. But if we take a look at the news here, first of all, this morning, Nano Nuclear Energy purchases a facility in Oak Ridge, Tennessee to establish the nuclear technology headquarters. It was a 1,400 square foot facility purchased for $1.71 million. The other thing here is that we got news yesterday. Trump pledges to accelerate deployment of advanced small modular nuclear reactors if elected. It is likely why the stock traded up 30% yesterday. We're probably going to see some more back and forth with this, which should actually make for a pretty decent trading vehicle. Ticker NNE. 13, do you have anything on this one? Do you have a trade plan? Do you have levels that you want to share with the group here? Ticker NNE.
Not for NNE, no.
Okay.
I don't really have anything on that one. It should be it should be moving with the other nuclear stocks with that news. So I think it's just gonna be like pick your poison. But for this one, it does look like it's coming off of a bottom after getting beaten up pretty good. So that might provide more of an equity, more room for a trade than some of the other ones have. Just something that
One thing to watch here today is going to be maybe a move out of this consolidation area.
Yeah.
It looks like we've got the bottom of that area here at about 1182, 1184. The top end of that area about 1220. So that area, if we take that out, maybe we get another run like we did here in the pre-market. We'll see. But that's kind of what's going on here with NNE.
Yeah. No, the one that I was looking at so I could help folks in chat was APLM.
Okay.
This is a clinical stage biotech stock.
The 13-cent penny stock?
Yeah, so it was just getting asked about in chat. So this won't take long. It's going to be pretty easy to cover. But basically, this is a clinical stage. They just had earnings last week. They're, of course, still having to spend money. They mentioned that they have almost 26 million cash runway. So their clinical trials can continue for the time being. The thing is that their float is rather large. It's 95 million shares. So I expect that at some point they are going to have to reverse splits, especially since they're not in compliance right now. So that's just something to consider. At some point, this will reverse split. And following that, they're likely to raise more cash as this is a clinical stage biotech. I don't think this is undervalued. It's probably about where it needs to be, especially as it continues to lose money. If you want to kind of look at it in terms of what's the share price, if you're just considering the cash balance, that's going to be about 21 cents. So it's not too far away from where that valuation would be. But this is going to reverse split and raise cash. I'm pretty confident about that.
Yeah, really good breakdown here. To me, this is a must avoid here, ticker APLM. Okay, what other stocks do we want to take a look at here from the chat? Let's maybe pass on some of these penny stocks until they hit a scanner. Lumen?
Well, before Lumen, could we just? I got a shout out. I think it was thinking about it. Or remember?
Shout out our chat. Hell yeah, you can do it. Let's go.
He was talking about RCAT yesterday, and
so was Carmen, I believe. So was Carmen.
So when I was looking at RCAT after he had mentioned it yesterday, I was like, okay, well, this is an interesting area of consolidation. So I picked up some, and it ran later that day. Yesterday, about noon, it started running. So I want to say thank you, thinking about it, for putting this on my radar and then beating us over the head with it, because it worked out really well. I appreciate it. So
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, really good stuff there. I know. I believe Carmen was on this one too. I can't remember what the due diligence that she shared with us on the show. Carmen, if you're out there, let us know. If not, I'll ask you when you come back. But RCAT, okay, good stuff. Glad our chat is on it. This actually looks like it's trying to go higher from here.
Well, it's a drone play, so it's gonna be one of those ones that you want to kind of lump in with AV for a possible military side of it. So I think that's the big play here with RCAT.
Okay, well, guess what, 13? Guess what?
What's that?
It is your namesake that is going to be next here. Holo, YOLO, JOLO. We seem to get this. I don't know why, but this stock seems to have an unreal following. People absolutely love to trade this. Look what happened yesterday.
Yeah, this is the move that we've been waiting for, and I kind of feel gross that this is actually working, because this is on no fundamentals. This is on nothing except just a pattern that I pointed out from how this moved in the past. Around this time in August, kind of because they've had earnings around this time, it goes on this spike. It goes on this run into September, and then it comes right back in with equal authority. So this was one of those things I talked about being a lottery ticket. If you want to get into it, and try to play that August movement, go for it. I picked up some. I'm at 35 cents.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, did we miss it? Because this thing just moved from 30 cents to, actually it printed 70 cents before it came back in.
Like I said, I still have it. I'm just going to hold it and see what it does, because this is, if it goes over $1, then it might end up going a lot more. So this is, like I said, it's just a lottery ticket. It's stupid that it's actually working so far, because it's only moving on a repeating pattern as far as I can tell. So again, I've said this many times before. If you are going to try this, remember, this is just a lottery ticket, and expect to lose everything that you're putting into if you're going to try this. But if it works out, which apparently it looks like it is so far, it could be a really big moneymaker, and it would be a really stupid moneymaker. This is so stupid that this is happening, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, we look, our chat, it's okay because we're actually making our chat stay. It is Rustam's Super Bowl today. We are talking about Holo and it is moving. Rustam, enjoy the day, man. I hope you bank off this. Jay, much more down to earth. It's crap. That's it.
It is.
Full stop. It's crap.
It is. It's a dog shit company.
And then here,
But-
Smoke Tuna, it's junk of junk, but full of golds if you know how to take it. Smoke Tuna, you have a way with words, my man. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay.
Yeah, so
we're about to open here. We're
Yeah.
about to open here. 45 seconds. We're all set to go. Rustam, I'm happy I got 10K shares at 28.
Oh my
Make
God.
sure you book some of those gains, bro. Make sure you book some of those gains. Really, really good stuff.
Even
here.
at 35 cents, I'm up 50% right now, according to my my broker. So this is just, it's kind of ridiculous.
Okay. Let me flip over to Trade the Pool. Reminder, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need help getting above that 25K day trading threshold or simply need some more dry powder, Trade the Pool could be the place to help you out. Great guys. We love them. Let's open this baby up. 5 seconds.
Let's go. And we're off.
Here we go. Lunar right through the VWAP on that opening print. We'll see where we go. Luke. Oh, we got hot stocks, Luke. Folks, we are in the presence of greatness. You want to see TOON? What's TOON doing here?
Kartoon Studios.
What's it doing here, hot stocks, Luke? Man, this is a penny stock moving back up. Maybe it takes out its 50 day and goes to the 200. I'm surprised that hot stocks Luke is on a penny stock.
Well, they
but
had
Luke,
earnings-
I'm curious to know what other plays you folks have. TTNP here actually might be trying to go towards the VWAP. Sorry, 13.
No worries. They TOON had earnings last week. They need a second to go through that report, but hey, remember we talked a lot about how content is kind of been a big deal, especially when it comes to companies like Disney. How their
Yes,
content
we
is
have.
really
It's been
great.
everything, frankly.
Mhm.
It has been everything.
This company has a lot of content. So
All
let's
right.
put that bullet point next to it.
TTMP not getting ready to take off here. By the way, folks, Pan W, for any of you, we are going to have Anne Marie on today. Okay, so we're going to have an all access a little bit later at the end of the show. That's a ways away, but we are going to have Anne Marie on. We'll probably talk about Pan W. I know we talked about a double butterfly here. They reported earnings. Pan W trading up here after earnings, continuing to push up here today, looking pretty good. We'll ask about that. Do not despair. What else we got going on? ALZN.
Yeah, let's look at that.
ALZN. Okay, looks like we did push up off that VWAP a little bit there. How about TGL? That was one that we had on our list here from this morning. TGL at that VWAP. Smoke Tuna, what say you? Do we get rejected here? Maybe trade up a penny or two above it, rejected at 175 where I see some size chilling. What do you think? Here we go. 175 test coming right here. 180 has some size above and 181 as well. So really to get through this area, it's going to need some more buying.
ALZN. There's a resistance level at 580. It's been a level all pre-market, so that'd be the breakout level to watch for. With,
I think TGL is going to get halted here. Yeah, they're stacking up bids. 173 here. TGL, it's not moving. I think this is going to get halted.
It wants that VWAP, doesn't it?
My tool hasn't reported it as halted here, but I'm pretty sure this actually might be delayed a little bit from that opening print. It is halted. TGL halted. Good stuff there. Good stuff there. Wiss, were you here yesterday? I can't remember. Were you here yesterday on the show? Start you off with a simple yes or no question here today. Great vol. Excuse me. I almost said great call. Great volume here on Lunar. Look at the dip and rip we got on Lunar.
Mm-hmm.
Took it right above the VWAP. If we clear out the top end of this consolidation area, let's call it, is that 6? Let's call it, no, excuse me. That's not. I can't see anything on this screen. I got to get a new monitor. This one, a little difficult to read some of those numbers. 512 looks to be the top end of that. If we break that off here, Lunar could go higher.
Yeah, pre-market high for Lunar is 532. This is this open and drop for Lunar. That was great. If you're running the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, went right down to it and reversed. PETA, the one that I have no read on, pushing up to VWAP, but slowly. AUUD also trying to get back and hold back above and hold VWAP. Also some other EMAs like the 9 and 15.
Nope, I was golfing. Okay, really quick. I'm sorry to take more time out to do this. Wiss, I got to share something with you. On Sunday, dude, on Sunday, I was this close to my first ever hole-in-one. 148-yard par 3, 8-iron, put it under 6 inches from the hole. Bro, when I drove up, I was like, you have got to be kidding me here. You have got to be kidding me. That's where I was at. Let me know what you think about that. Okay, TTNP halt. Smoke Tuna, you're just on it. Let's go. EVOK halt. Man, we got all types of stuff. And yes, Lion Atlas, Ryan, sounding like he's running an auction. Look, you don't want me to bust out the Texas twang and really start auctioning stuff off. That is not what you want. Trust me. Trust me. But Amanda's right. She calls this correctly. It's because I had coffee here today. Actually, wait a second. You know what, 13? I'm going to have to leave you for 1 sec.
All right. I think he's going to go get his tea. And all right. Looks like Holo's going down. No problem. RR, that one had a big green candle up, looking for 118. That is the pre-market high. Looks like it's about to try for that. A little bit of size between, no problem. A little bit of size between 116 and 117. Trying to push through that so it can retake 118. And Lunar now pushing 5.
Wiss, of course I sunk the birdie. Of course I sunk the birdie. Jay, you already complimented me yesterday, so I'm unsurprised to see the slight little jab here today. Oh, LOL. Okay.
And RR now through 116 and 17, looking at 118, trying to push through that. More size at 120. I'd like to see more out of RR. We're talking about just, a matter of sense here. ALZN trying to negotiate VWAP. TGO still suspended. Yeah, SPY really has no resistance to 564. Yeah, that's the that's about where we're going to gap fill up to that. We have that gap at what did I say it was? I'll bring it up here. But yeah, that gap is something I'm expecting will fill here. And that starts at 560.51, fills at 562.10. We're almost there.
Okay. Sorry, I got distracted there, folks. I'll try and not get distracted here.
No worries. TGL still halted.
Yep. Astis, ASTS. Oh, are we pulling back for the first time since we've looked at this stock? How about that?
Was there news? Or is it just people realizing, hey, this thing is really extended?
Lion Atlas literally trying to tell me no more coffee. Lion, do you like breathing air? Do you like your life? Do not even joke around with threatening me with no more coffee. You will be sorry. No one will deny me my coffee. No. Astis selling off here. We'll see where this bottoms out. Say again, which ticker?
TGL is open and
TGL?
Going higher. We are trading above VWAP now. And AUUD bounce, says the chat. It's certainly trying. It bounced a little bit, but it's coming back in. Still negotiating that VWAP.
Looks I'll be honest, looks to me like it was rejected at that VWAP. That's just me.
Lunar still negotiating 5.
NNE totally reversed off that sell-off and is blasting off. Watch NNE here for a potential breakout. I'm not going to buy that and trade that. But that's moving here. Born, it's great to see you this morning. Born, you're in for fantasy football again, right? I think I already asked you. Apple blasting off here. 230 looks to be the next spot here on Apple. By the way, Pan W. Yep. Pan W out here.
All Max 7 green except for NVIDIA. What's going on with PANW?
It's ripping out of the gate. Send me the link. Born, you're already in it. So I think, I'll check the league today. I think I just need to reactivate the league, but you're already in it. You should see it in your ESPN when you log in.
Oh, they're ripping because they got all kinds of price target raises.
Yeah. Then they had those earnings yesterday, which was kind of wild in the after hour session, but it looks like it's settled out here now.
Yeah, the earnings is one thing. And then I think it really gave it the lift is all these different price targets.
No question.
Just get this stock to 400 already.
No question. Here you go. Okay, cool. Zoo Alexander asking about Lunar. Lunar back down here at the VWAP. This is pushing away. I think I missed a Twitter comment earlier. Let me go back and see if I can find that. I don't want to ignore our Twitter viewers here. And there was a lot of action, and I was jacked up on coffee. It was Joseph. It was Joseph. If you're still here, it was Astus. We actually did check on that. I apologize. We did take a look at that.
Lion Atlas, what in particular are you selling? Just pretty much everything? Maybe not FMC, but pretty much everything. I'm just curious if it's what it is you're selling there. Lunar losing some altitude, and it's having some hard time getting through this consolidation that the pre-market is putting in. Let's see here.
You're welcome, Zoo. Lunar just broke that VWAP, coming back in. Holo is ripping. Jolo, YOLO, Holo. What's going on, dude? Oh, okay, ripping. I mean, it's up. It's up a couple. It's moving away from its VWAP. It's up 6 cents from its VWAP. By the way, Born, just saying, I think you were a little bit early last year. You remember? I don't know if you remember, and I don't want to give away your strategy, so I'm going to try and be vague. If you need a reminder, reach out to me. But last year, you told me you were going to blow the whole thing up with the fantasy draft. And it looks like you were 1 year early on your pick, because this year, that player that you went first overall is right near the top. So pretty good call on your part, if I do say so myself. TTNP, this is another stock from the list here, just took out that VWAP. It's trying to go higher. Let's see if we actually, the volume looks pretty good here. TTNP, I might actually try some of this here. Let's see if we can keep pushing above that VWAP. Yeah, I'm not going to get filled. It's going to run away from me, isn't it?
RR still not able to get over 118.
Let's see if I can get there. There we go. Got filled on some. Let's see if we're up. It's going to sell back off here now. Let's see. See if we can pop above here. TTNP, high risk trade, but I think we can maybe move away from the VWAP. We'll see.
Oh, okay, Linus, thank you. So it's pretty much semis. Okay, gotcha.
TTNP, Smoke Tuna says don't take. Too late, Smoke Tuna, but good call. Good call. We're coming back into the VWAP. It's got to hold that and bounce here. If it doesn't, we're probably made a huge mistake here. Let's see if we hold this VWAP.
NNE broke through the pre-market highs. New intraday high is 1375. Now trying to hold above VWAP.
Take a look at that here real quick. Here is your NNE coming back to the VWAP now. NNE.
TGL suspended again. Halted.
Oh my God! Did it get halted again?
Yes.
This one to the upside. So look, we were saying on this one, we don't know if this is going to be a good one. Sure looks like it. So far it is. Here we go on TTMP. Let's see if we get above the VWAP here. That $11 spot looks to be the spot it needs to take off. We're in at 1084. So we'll see if we end up getting that break.
Zoo Alexander, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, asking about BTBT.
We can take a look at that. How's Bitcoin doing today? I don't even think I looked at that chart yet this morning. 61K on the Bitcoin. Oh no, yes, 61K on the Bitcoin futures chart.
BTBT is actually moving off of earnings they had yesterday.
Okay,
so that's probably the big move, big push for BTBT in individually. They're wow. Okay.
Actually, it looks like BTBT. We'll see if it takes the top off here. 375 looks to be that upside spot. TTNP falling out of bed here, Tuna. We might be screwed. We're losing the VWAP. Do we recapture it or do we have to take an L here, Tuna? No. Let's see if we bounce. If we break down from here, that's probably it. TGL resume. Robert, I'll flip back over there in a sec. TGL's going. Let's actually just take a look here real quick. What was that level at? 10. Yeah, wow. Okay, so if we go into a 9 handle, let me put TGL up so we can at least take a look at that.
Several things happening with BTBT. First of all, they are kind of squeezing. Their days to cover isn't very big, but their percent of float short it is. Also, they are now profitable as of last quarter, not the one they just recorded.
TGL, sorry, TG. Oh, it looked like it was going to halt there, but they couldn't hold it. They actually soaked all that. Wow, that was huge. Okay, Smoke Tuna looking for his other amazing call here. If you're not in TGL already, probably don't want to take it here. I would agree. I wouldn't chase that green candle. We're already in enough trouble chasing a move.
And the thing about TGL, they have is this after hours? No, pre-market high of 258. Looks like it wants 258 at least. I don't know how much higher it goes after that, but it seems to me that 258 is targeted.
Okay, here we go on TGL. I think we're going to halt here, right? Did it?
Halted.
Let's see. Yep, it sure did. Boom, right there.
This would be the third one, I believe.
Right,
now, right?
there. Actually, Benzinga Pro will tell us that TGL. This is the third halt. So will 13. He'll tell us as well. Nice count in there.
Every 5 minutes we get a halt in that. That's been the open so far because we only been open for 15 minutes.
Here's LUMN for those of you that are watching Lumen. This actually trading above the VWAP here. Clove, how are we doing on Clove? Clove, look at this. The dip and rip. The dip and rip.
That's great trading right there. If you knew that was going to happen, if you follow Clove enough and you're like, oh yeah, this thing's going to drop out the open, I'm just going to buy it up. You're trading very well.
The dip and rip.
And then, same thing that I mention every time with Lumen. This looks like it's going to be great, but that float is just large, and it's going to be hard. A lot of supply to push around. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to get these big rips out of Lumen all the time.
Smoke Tuna mentioning SLRN. Here it is. So big impulse move here on SLRN. Let's see if this actually comes back into a tradable level, Tuna. And oh my God, TTNP broke down through 10. Holy smokes. We are probably wiped out on TTNP, starting out 0 for 1 here. Look at this. Yep, there's going to be no chill here. We're just going to have to take our medicine, folks. That was brutal. That was brutal. Do I stay in here and make this maybe worse? Or do we take medicine? What do you think? Medicine or more pain? I'm going to go with medicine. We're going to close this one out. 0 for 1 on a horrific TTNP trade. Smoke Tuna, good call. I was just a tad too early on that one. Tad too early.
So we are now above 560 on the SPY for the regular session, at least.
Oh, good times here. All right.
That's funny.
Luke is hilarious. Actually, TTNP, is this halted to the downside? Yes, it is.
Lunar really wants to go. I hope it would. It certainly looks like it's trying to get up to 510 and over that. Pre-market high for Lunar is 532.
Luna is the medicine man. Andrew Labos, man. Tell you what, I miss the heck out of you. We got to get together soon.
Sava. So this is another one of those. This has kind of been the biotech, especially back in 22.
Yeah.
So yeah,
this has been the definition of a battleground stock. There are people on here that say this company is a complete fraud and is going out of business, and there are other people that think this stock's worth $100. Like, it is a wild battleground stock.
Yeah, I don't know who this company is, but there's a buy rating. Rodman and Renshaw think it's worth 107.
I mean, look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not into the whole Alzheimer's thing enough, so I can't tell you. But man,
it's just super shorted. It's got 42% of the float shorted, 3.6 days to cover. It's so this could see a squeeze, but it's going to need it's that catalyst driven, So
Chris, Pan W, baby, Pan W, nice job.
Nice.
In fact, Chris, we're going to start you off with a couple of the register rings and the one up. Great stuff there on Pan W. We pushed higher here. Looks like we're going to settle at the VWAP. Let's take a look here at RR and see what we got. Mullen for the smoke tuna, man. You trying. No one's looking at Mullen. I'll look at it. We'll do it for the lulls. Here's Mullen. Look, I can't. If you're buying that, I can't help you. I can't help you.
What is this moving on here? Home prices tick up for second month. Okay, so
it's actually a pretty decent move here for Redfin.
Yeah, there's a little piece of news on why it's moving. Home prices moving up.
Biggest gainer off the scanner is going to be the penny stock INM, followed by PETA, followed by RR. Those are your biggest movers on the scanner here today. RR is continuing to try and find new highs here as well. Best setup from this morning was RR. Sure looks like it, Tuna. What do you think on AUD? Think this reverses at all today? At all? I don't know.
I didn't really like the fact that they only make $50,000 a quarter. I mean, it's more than some of these biotechs make, but.
Uh-oh. Holo, YOLO, JOLO. It's tanking. It reversed. See, guys, I don't know if I would call this tanking. Motion, I'm going to push back. I don't think that this is tanking. This is just a pullback. Like tank is like when this thing really sells off and like goes into the tank. Like this is just kind of a reversal. This is just a knife or a pullback. I don't know that I would call that tanking.
And, you know, I got stops set up, so there's no way I'm going to, you know, lose on this trade now.
Yeah.
All right, so RR hit a high of 137.
TGL also halted down in the reversal.
PETA must stand for pain in the ass because this thing has done nothing all morning. Yeah.
Around here, Bitcoin 61K. What did I miss?
AMD makes that in a second.
AMD did recapture that 200-day. I think we were talking about this yesterday, Lion, weren't we? And we were saying how this was coming up to that 200-day. Well, guess what? We're above that now. Looks like we actually have a close above that. Hang on a sec here. AMD. What do you guys think? You think 560 on the SPY? But here, let me put the SPY up while I'm not looking at that other chart here. Here's your SPY move. 560.57 was the pre-market high. We are almost there. Boy, I tell you what, do you guys think we're going to highs? New highs? What do you think?
I think, well, at the very least, we're going to fill that gap and double top. What happens next? Not sure.
Yeah.
But Christopher bringing up the Boeing news.
Oh, poor Boeing.
That, man, we saw that this morning. We were talking about it, and it's just like one thing after the other for this company. They cannot catch a break. I think the company's growth prospects are really in trouble with how their Starliner spacecraft has marooned astronauts. So the new CEO's got a lot on their plate.
Yeah. By the way, really quickly, just to kind of finish off the discussion here on AMD, here's the chart that we were looking at. Lion, when we talked about this yesterday, we talked about this butting up to the 50-day, which it did close above. We also talked about the 200-day being next. Today's candles so far, we're above that. Look to see if we get a close above that. Maybe AMD keeps running, especially if the market continues to trade up here. Glad it's working for you. We're going to give you a register ring. Even though you can't handle the coffee this morning, we're still going to give you a register ring. I actually did like the discussion on Starbucks this morning, too. It's great to see a whole bunch of other people realizing that Starbucks is just overpriced for the most part and pretty trashy, to be honest.
Well, the thing about Starbucks is that their real big headwinds are going to be coming out of China. They are, continuing to open stores in a market that is really not great for their business model. Tom and I were having a conversation about something we were watching with Starbucks and how the company's essentially treated over there. They do have some really good growth happening in Europe, but that the China market is going to be, what keeps pressure on their stock. And I don't know how long that's going to last. Maybe this new CEO spins off their China segment. That'd be probably one of the better case scenarios for this one. But
Okay.
going under 90, I could see it happen at some point here, but I can't exactly say when. It is pretty extended up here, so I think at the very least it should come down to the 200-day SMA.
Chris mentioning Riley here. We talked about this one recently. This is pushing towards the highs, although I don't necessarily see a setup there. STI, another one. STI, this actually a decent setup. This moved through that VWAP, came back, sat on the VWAP here. I'm going to pass on this penny stock, but you're right, Smoke Tuna, pretty good setup here. VXRT, tell you what, Smoke Tuna seems to be, does it? Yeah, this is on my scanner too. Smoke Tuna, it's almost like you're running the same scanner I am. Just saying. Just saying.
I'd be interested to know what kind of batteries STI produces. I mean, if they're solid state or better, that's great. But if they're still like, lithium ion, then I don't care. Its association with the Middle East with millennials.
What's that?
Well, I was just reading something that Comp SRX was saying, and I'm just kind of thinking about that.
Which one? This one, the larger headwind to Starbucks is the sentiment on its association in the Middle East with millennials. Okay. I mean, I think the biggest segment for them is China, is it not?
Yeah, that's what I believe too.
That's what I think.
That's where I mean, I don't. The whole sentiment thing, I can see how that might lead to lower sales from a particular cohort of people. I don't think that impact's going to be nearly as material as the China stores not being very profitable. I mean, they are opening thousands of them, and they just aren't doing great.
The XRT, let's see if this pulls back to that 95-cent VWAP there. We'll see. Jay Rice says, Mullins not allowed here anymore. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Lunar, are we going to take off from the VWAP here? Lunar, LUNR. What's up, the Fortune God? Good to see you this morning. Wave. RR getting a mention here. Maybe we have another setup on a Rich Tech Robotics. See if we take the top off there.
Yeah,
on the scanner. Don't see a lot of other interesting stuff here.
It's,
Neon.
RR has to get through 135 and 140. There's some pretty large walls of sell orders there.
Look at Eli Lilly, man. Eli Lilly off that. And look at this range that we drew weeks ago has come into play again. What a rip here. Eli Lilly. Oh my goodness. How's VKTX doing? These are two of these fat drugs or love handle trade drugs that our group has been talking about for a while here. Absolutely ripping. Good stuff by our chat here. Really, really good stuff.
They also meant, let me see who it was real quick because I wanted to make sure I get their name. Somebody just mentioned MDT had good earnings. Happy Zombie. MDT earnings were good. Yes, they were. They raised their guidance. And this is a medical device company, which I've kind of been on this for a little bit. You have the older generations with, a good amount of the wealth in the United States. They're aging. They're going to need such devices. They're going to be able to afford them. So this is exactly what you want to see if you're on that theme. ZLN just need more volume. Let me take a look. Any news on DRI, Christopher? I think that's also moving with Redfin on the news of housing prices rising. I believe that's what it is. There might be some other news. I know that later on this week we're getting, I believe it's housing starts. We also get mortgage index. Let me bring up my calendar. I'll tell you exactly when those are reporting. I think one of those is supposed to come out today.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm still doing something here for work.
So we have, let's see, today we get the Red Book, which should be out pretty soon or already. Don't see much in the way of economic news today. I think it's tomorrow and Thursday is when we get the bigger news. Let's see, tomorrow payrolls. FOMC meeting minutes, mortgage index. So there you go, mortgage index there. And then of course on Thursday, jobless claims, balance sheets, existing home sales. There we go. And then I think new home sales is on Friday. Let's see here.
Chris saying, sure looks like we're going to all-time highs here on the SPY. This is one of the things that we were watching. We try to give this to you here in the morning. Let's see. So 560.84 is going to be the high print. Sorry for running you over there, 13.
Some of those are yes, usually 10 a.m. is when we get those housing prints. Yes. Yeah.
Robert, I appreciate this. Matt Malley booking 500% on GDX. Matt Malley is in the habit of booking multiple hundreds of percent. Let's face it. MGI setting up ALZN, getting another mention here. Tuna, you got the scanner working on overdrive. ALZN right back to its VWAP here. See if we can push above. Volume not impressive here yet on ALZN. See if that changes.
PETA down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That's trying to provide support. It got support from earlier in the pre-market. Let's see if it does it again. I would not be holding my breath. Lunar EBOX suspended to the downside, so halted to the downside. TGL also halted to the downside after printing 232 as the session high. What are we looking at? TEM ripping, Holo setting up, Maxon. We'll take a look at TEM and then Maxon. TEM. Oh, they have AI in the name. Oh, crap. That must be why it's moving. Let's actually look at the real reason. Trading higher after last week's expanded collaboration investment in Personalis. They invested $36 million by exercising warrants to purchase 9.2 million shares. So I guess there's a relationship trade here, I guess.
Real quick while you're looking,
yeah.
Real quick while you're looking into that, Booglog saying, "Why nobody talking about Walmart? Why didn't you bring it up? What do you want to? What do you want to say? What do you want to take a look at here? Walmart has actually a pretty decent daily chart. It actually looks like it wants to take that out here. Let me see if I can bring you a bigger chart. We'll take a look at this. I'm curious to know what you think about Walmart. You know, one of the things we've been looking at is going to be how's the strength of the consumer. Is that going to hold up? Is the consumer going to tighten? Curious to know. Here's your daily chart on Walmart, by the way. If this is why Booglog's bringing it up. This does look like it's going to break out and go higher. Sorry, 13.
No worries. But if they do tighten, they're going to go to stores like Walmart. They're going to go find the cheapest deals. They're going to be bargain hunting. So you're probably not going to see these bigger retailers or some of the other grocers. Like, I don't know. Maybe Kroger doesn't do so well, or Walmart does. Whoever has the best, most competitive prices, I think that's where the consumers are going to go, because the consumer is going to tighten, and they're going to still need to eat. They're still going to need to drink, and they're still going to need to get their food from somewhere. So it could be just, the really, really discounted products that they go after, and Walmart has, a reputation for that. But as far as going higher, it does look like it's trying to break out of that high it put in on the 15th. I think that was off of earnings, right? It was just after the day after earnings.
Yeah.
So that would be a high of 74.44. So let's look for 75 out of this thing. See what happens there. Get your liquid death at Walmart. Yes. And they have a sale on avocados. See, there you go. If they have a sale on avocados, like, who doesn't love guacamole? But anyway, I think they're going to be one of the better ones. Someone flushed the toilet. Well, I hope nobody's letting it mellow.
Okay. I got to stop doing work, because it seems that as I do that, you guys devolve off the rails and you're talking about toilet flushing.
Well, because we're talking about the market flushing.
Well,
I mean, 140.
I mean, it's doing the opposite of that. It's just trading up. It's just trading up. It's not flushing. Take a look at here at the scanner and see if there's anything else that's setting up here. I don't see anything new off that scanner. I do love you guys came with all the spice today. I do love that. I do love that. Look at MTC penny stock going crazy here.
And what does this one do? Oh wait, we traded this one. Tech. I remember that one. Remember Tech?
Tech.
We traded this one in May.
That reminds me of the okay. That's a South Park guy, except it's stock now.
Well, Mr. Mackey trades Tech.
That's actually a really good question. Well done, 13. Well done, 13. Sorry, Jane. Lunar didn't go. It didn't take off.
Yeah, Lunar. But no worries. Yeah, Lunar. Like I said, they are going to move on a catalyst. And it's moved nicely today, but that catalyst is what we're waiting for. We want to get that news of that contract with NASA for their near Earth satellite. Let me see if I can actually pull up the whole spiel I wrote on it so that I can give you some more context on what I'm looking for out of Lunar.
We do love our context around these parts, by the way. Just saying. Let's take a look and see what some of the other day traders out there are doing.
Okay. So in happy hour chat, I wrote, this was yesterday. Okay. So this stock was the one that had the spicy lunar landing in February that resulted in the lander tipping over, but still able to carry out its mission. NASA expected to award Lunar 2 contracts sometime between now and the end of next month for relay services and direct-to-Earth communications. The contracts would be funded by NASA's Near Space Network contract, which has a budget of up to $542 million and is expected to run for 10 years. We haven't seen an official announcement. My understanding from reading around is that Lunar is the most well-positioned to receive NSN contracts from NASA. There you go.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm. And Greenland Holdings, that was being mentioned. This was that silly one. Getting some good volume. Let me look at my broker chart here. Okay, so 1050 was a level that that I had previously here, and it's gotten over and it's holding above that. Next one up is going to be 1105. After that, 1180.
Lion Atlas, by the way, real quick. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place here this morning. 13. See, I think I didn't have enough coffee to concentrate. But real quick, Lion Atlas here. AMD. This has been a big rip. Lion Atlas, great stuff on this one here today. Ryan, watch AMD. It took out 160 already. The race to 185 level because there's no resistance above 160. The volume actually looks really good here. Continuing to expand on this 3-minute chart. Looking really good here on AMD. Nice hook. Lion, nice hook. And then Jay, I know you've been talking about Netflix all morning, and we really haven't looked at this, but what a move here. And I think you had said this was a 100-point move off this bottom here, 589. It looks like, is that 590? Is that what I got there? 590 to 707 here in just amount of time. Just an absolute monster move here on Netflix. Tell you what, this is what we were talking about when we were talking about that buy the dip earlier. Buy the dippers have been conditioned for this to work. And it is working, and they're going to keep doing it until it doesn't. RR getting mentioned here in the chat as this continues to push higher on expanding volume. Tell you what, RR was the one that we should have been on.
Next time, Lion Atlas, we'll do it. I mean, and we're already in FMC, which we're loving too. With this Netflix move, which is really crazy. Do you know that this is doing better than the broader market because it bottomed on the 5th, like the rest of the market. And it is actually above its, like you were saying, it's above its all-time high.
Yeah. Rest of streaming sucking wind. Para, yes. Warner Brothers, etc. Absolutely, Jay. Hit it right on the head. BRB 1 second.
No problem. Yeah, that's been the big thing with these other streamers is that, well, Netflix is like one of the earliest to the party. I think they were the first to the party. And they've been kind of keeping it toned down with the woke content, which has been not working out very well for Disney. As a matter of fact, Disney has been canceling shows in response to that backlash. So, and there are some changes happening at Disney. I do have a little bit more hope for them now. Seeing a lot of really interesting things happening behind the scenes when it comes to Lucasfilm and Marvel. Lots of drama. So, if you're interested in that, that might be something to follow. But Disney might be turning around as a result. So, fingers crossed, folks. As far as Netflix goes, who knows how this thing's going to go? But I'll tell you what, we're already looking at an RSI of 74, over almost 75 now. That's into overbought territory. Could squeeze into the 80 area of the RSI. That's not something that's actually done before. Did it back in January.
Ooh.
So that could definitely happen. But I think those that are thinking about making their exit in Netflix, I don't think that's a bad idea. We're getting really extended up here.
LXRX.
You know what, Market Sniper? That that's the thing. A lot of the changes behind the scenes with Disney right now on the Marvel side is being driven by Ryan Reynolds, and it is phenomenal what's actually happening back there. So if you are interested in what's happening back there in the drama, it's pretty hilarious to me, but it's worth a check out. Hoping, fingers crossed, that they do some good stuff. Yeah, AMD has been just amazing. TLS setup. Take a look at that. Telos Corp. So this is trying to recapture
TLS, you said?
TLS.
Yeah, got it. Actually, this is not a bad setup. Volume's low, but the price is at a pretty decent level here.
I want to see this hold above VWAP. It's kind of riding the line right now. I don't want to be on the wrong side of this. If I was going to take a trade, I'd like to see VWAP get a candle or two close above it.
Excuse me.
Is it time to get into DNA? Affirm and Kratos 13 downside targets for Tesla, please and thank you. Okay, so I'll get to the Tesla downside targets in just a tick there, Anthony, for you. Robert mentioning Affirm and Kratos. So Kratos, that's going to be another military security play, and this is, I believe, like Iron Dome kind of a incoming missile defense. So I mean, it's down on the regular session. So, but it looks like it's setting up to go higher. So might just be that we're seeing some pullback on that one with Kratos. I'm going to take a look at
Tesla
and then DNA.
I'll go over there. TTNP setting up. This did come back from the dead. How about that? Lynn, no Tim Melvin here today, and it won't be tomorrow. Tim Melvin will be Thursday this week, folks. He's normally on Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. But I will not be here tomorrow. It'll be Zunaid and 13 batten down the hatches for you. We'll do Tim Melvin on on Thursday instead. Beg your pardon. Now, you wanted to take a look at Tesla. Is that right?
Yep. So I'm looking at that right now, seeing that because we did have that push up this morning, and now we're red on the day, and 226 and 232 have been two levels that I've had marked off here for a while, and we did get some consolidation. The last time we were inside between those two, that was back in July, late July. Now the price has come up, tried to get back over and close above 226, getting rejected right now. So here's what I want to see next. If this does start to come back down in, I want to see a retest of that 50. And if I'm bullish and I want to see it go higher, I want to see that test of the 50 hold up. Okay, so if we start losing the 50 and we lose that trend line that we put in from drawing a line from the highs back in July 2023 and December 2023 and drawing it down all the way through, we broke out of that at the end of last week. We broke out of it yesterday, Monday. And we went and tested these 226 levels, getting rejected today. Now we're going to back test that trend line and the 50-day SMA. I'd want to see that hold up if I'm looking for this to go higher. So I hope that answers your question and helps you out there, my man.
Good stuff there. I have a pretty remedial approach to the levels here. I think 205 and 200 are going to be your big downside levels. That's if the trend line breaks. That trend line value is right there at 215 along with the 50-day. And then for the upside here, the big level that I'm looking for on Teslas is 234. I think we gap fill up to 240 plus. But there you go. He said, beautiful. Let's go, Anthony. We out here getting it done. Getting it done. That's what we do, folks. All right, I'm going to flip back. Oh, I'm going to go back to trade the pool here.
Right now, is saying
look at TTNP. It went. It shook me out and went. That's the way the cookie crumbles on some of these day trade stocks, folks. That's the way it goes. Smoke Tuna. By the way, Smoke Tuna. Also making Chewbacca proud out here. 2 amazing calls on TTNP. Should have just followed you the whole time. Honestly. Beautiful stuff.
So yeah, what do you think about Line Atlas saying he's getting us some SQQQ as a hedge? Because, I agree with that. This market is just super extended, and maybe we're just, thinking, oh, okay, well, this buy the dip is working, everything's fine. Let's keep going. And then, just the one headline piece comes across, it just completely craters the market.
I will say this. Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were there.
It's happened before. Just go ahead.
I just lost my train of thought again. God damn it, 13. Sorry about
all aboard the thought train.
Totally my fault there. Totally my fault there. Totally got lost. I gotta stop interrupting you. Sometimes I think I know when you're going to finish, and then you don't finish, and then bad news there.
Don't worry, it'll come back to you. It'll come back to you.
ALZN, maybe we are setting up here for a potential move through this VWAP. It's really struggled with the VWAP here since it's broke down beneath it.
Ryan, would it have anything to do with the SQQQ?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Thank you. SQQQ. So we were Lion Atlas talking about putting that on as a hedge. The good thing about SQQQ is that if you don't time the trade correctly, it functions as a hedge so long as you hold longs in technology in your portfolio, which I do. So I've tried to trade that recently, have been completely offsides, and it's actually just cost me money, but it's been vastly outweighed by the longs that I hold in my portfolio. So it really actually hasn't hurt me, but man, oh man, just careful with that. Careful with that.
I like how
careful with the because that thing has just been melted. There will be a time for it, and it should trade better after it reverse splits. CMG getting mentioned.
I like how I destroyed your train of thought and then reinvigorated.
Yeah, me too. I like how you basically just controlled it there. That's like some MK Ultra stuff, some mind control stuff in there. 13, you better simmer down on that. Oh, good times though. Good times.
What is the SPY doing?
PanW. So for folks, for Anne Marie's show here that's coming up, in an hour or so, we're going to start with PanW because this good trade put on here. This continuing to move. We're definitely like in the money on these, so we're going to take a look at PanW here. TTNP halted to the upside. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Smoke Tuna is just a little too early on that. Just a little too early on that one, but we flagged it correctly. Looking around here, Netflix pulled off those 7-Eleven highs, by the way. INOD really came off those highs as well. VIX actually starting to climb. Let me pinch myself and make sure this is the real world. VIX above 15. We'll see if that goes higher here.
Yeah, because it really did need to turn around. I mean, there was no fear in this market for a little while. Maybe it's starting to come back. We'll see. We shall see.
I mean, so if we take a look at the SPY, we're moving down here pretty considerably. But we've seen this before. It's funny. We were talking about some of the way the SPY moves in the happy hour, and it seems to the group that when the SPY gaps down or starts down in the pre-market, maybe even sells off around that opening print, the buyers just step back in. It's really the days where it trades higher first, like it did today, where the reversals kind of take it lower. Now, will we sell off all day, or will this reversal get bought? That's the question here. I have got it. My gut tells me we get bought at some point today, because we haven't really seen one of those really big flushes, and I'm not sure we're going to have the catalyst to do that. I wouldn't be shocked if this thing turned around at some point.
Emiola is asking Ryan and 13, do you guys still think a rate cut is coming next month? I think a rate cut should have already happened to avoid the political bias. Now they're in that window where they can't get out of it. So I think that's a big misstep on their part. I already believe they should have begun cutting, and there's a lot of different opinions around when the timing of that is right. There's some people that think that we shouldn't be cutting at all. There's some people that think that we're going to get maybe 1 or 2 cuts, and there's people that think we're going to get 3. I think that we are going to see some cuts this year. I think we could see the earliest one next month, but there's a lot of big question marks here. I still think we should be getting one, but there are some some things that are kind of eating at my brain about, well, maybe they don't, because they're trying to systematically unwind the yen carry trade or something to that effect. Also, Japan, the Bank of Japan might not do anything, as they're expected to raise, but they might not do anything until a new PM is elected. So lots of question marks is basically what I'm getting at here. I don't know for sure, but my opinion is they should cut next month.
Yeah, and I mean, my initial call was that I don't think we're going to have any rate cuts this year. I'm still on that. I'm going to let that either be wrong or be right. But I'm kind of back and forth. We talk about the yen carry trade and the macroeconomic picture on a daily basis. I'm kind of going back and forth, right? If you're cutting rates, the economy really needs to be doing poorly, right? Because you're trying to jack it up. And is it yet? I mean, I know we're talking about it slowing, but we're getting data. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on that one. Fed's going to do whatever it's going to do. The one thing I know is that the Fed's going to be late. They're late all the time, no matter what it is that they're doing. They're going to be late again.
And see, Eric is bringing up one of those points that kind of, it's that I call a question mark. It's market at all-time highs, it's ripping, the economy's looking great. So is there a reason to cut? Well, when you start looking at different things that are going to really hamper on the American consumer, it's like, well, they probably might want to. But at the same time, with the market doing as well as it is, they might not want. So again, the question marks. But to me, I think they need to provide some relief, especially if there are some people and companies that really need to refinance in order to stay afloat.
Eric, what do you think they're going to do? I'm judging by your comment here, not sure the Fed will cut. It seems to me like you're kind of saying you don't think they're going to cut. What do you think they're going to do? And I guess, what do you think they should do if it's different from what you think they're going to do?
And I don't think there's any wrong answers at this point, because both sides make great cases.
And do you think we're going to know what the right or wrong answer was right away? Probably not. It's going to take a while before we figure that one out. And hindsight's always 20/20 on top of that. So,
yeah, maybe in the coming months and years, when we look back and see where the Fed went right and where they went wrong, they'll be able to pinpoint when the better time to cut was.
Well, that truck almost got into an accident. Glad that didn't happen. Okay, sorry about that. I follow Eric. Look, Eric is data dependent. Stop me if you've heard that before. I follow TLT. No answer yet.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna fight with that answer. Data dependent. Let's take it. Let's do it.
Mr. Alexander was asking about SVIX. I don't think I'd.
Which one?
Short
SVIX.
SVIX.
Let me bring it up on screen.
Short VIX futures. I don't necessarily know that I'd want to be shorting the VIX down here. Not that it couldn't go lower, but I think the better VIX short plays is when it has those large spikes. I don't think I really need to elaborate more on that. Like when we went up to 60, that was it. That was the play. That was the time to get into it.
Okay. Good morning, Walter. We are better now that you're here, my friend. RVPH, Smoke Tuna, the scanner, the human scanner, still out here. This looks like this is going to some new highs here.
Okay, well, market just kind of rolling over and saying, honey, did you want to get out of bed today?
And then he had that initial pop here. It's really kind of faded since then. NW still grinding higher here, 368 about. I can't wait to have this discussion with Anne Marie. Can I get ones in the chat for anyone that took Anne Marie's Pan W double butterfly trade? Or any Pan W trade, since Anne Marie's talked about a couple of them recently. Would love to see how many people are waiting for that. Holo here. YOLO, JOLO, Holo. Here we go, coming up off the bottom. Maybe we take VWAP.
Oh, God, this is going to be so hilarious and stupid if this works.
Smita asking about DJT. Yeah, this one does. I mean, here's the thing. Like, is it dead? It's going to be dead until it starts to move again. I think with him back on X, there's way less of the stories floating around here. You're still going to get some headlines here. To me, this is not a long. You need something else in here for this to be a long. And if you go short this, and all of a sudden there's some headline that you can't predict, you might be in a world of trouble. So I'm happy just not buying DJT at all. There are other things that we can trade based on the headlines from any of these people that are involved in politics.
So it death crossed last week. That was when the 50-day SMA crossed the 200-day SMA to the downside. So there's that. Lost the 500-day SMA, which has been propping it up since April. And now we're coming down into a little bit of consolidation. So we're probably going to lose 20 at some point. I think that we might see a short-term bounce there at the very least, but I think we're going to lose 20. We might find some support down in the 17 handle. That's just looking at the chart, that's what I assess from this. Now,
I appreciate you trying.
Keep in mind the RSI is pretty low, so there could be a short-term RSI bounce with this stock.
Kartoon, don't worry, Easy Mike. We know who you are. We know who you are, bro, and we are here for you. Motion. So is Holo a buy right now? Motion. That is not what we're doing here. You are going to have to tell us if it's a buy. We're basically just going to cover some of these stocks. We do not give financial advice. It is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Manage your own risk. Buying and selling stock comes with risk. Make sure you're fully aware of those risks.
Holo is to me not even anywhere near worth an investment. The whole purpose of us even talking about this today is because it has a repeating pattern of spiking in August and February, and this is just a lottery ticket to see if it's going to do it again. It's pretty stupid, in my opinion, that it's actually working. This goes to show how disconnected from reality this market is. It's more gamified than ever. It's just
it really is
at this point. But
it really is.
The whole thought here is that this is a super cheap lottery ticket. If you have like $50, get in at 50 cents, and with 100 shares, and maybe it goes to $1, and you made yourself a really easy trade for $50. But understand, you could lose the entire amount you put in. So if you're willing to part with it, then this is the risk you're taking. So just keep that in mind. This is a total lottery ticket trade. Don't expect anything great out of it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. That's really all.
13's favorite word of the day is stupid here today.
Only when we're talking about Holo, because this thing it's absolutely stupid.
Look at TTNP.
I can't use other words. I can't use other words.
This is stupid. We're just going to start handing out. We're just going to start handing out sound effects here because TTNP absolutely blasting off. So real quick, Lynn and Randy, I know that you were joshing me earlier about how I can't ditch this. You understand that in the prop account that I have, if the stock pulls back enough, it auto liquidates you anyway. I've mentioned that a bunch of times. That's why I have to sell some of these when they don't work, which is also why entry is absolutely critical here. Had I have followed Smoke Tuna's advice, I'd have been sitting pretty here. This looks like we're going to test 14 on TTNP. Grats to everyone that took this. Smoke Tuna, your calls. Oh, super good here today. Chef's kiss.
So it has gone,
15 coming
right now. It's chewing through the consolidation from June. No. Well, maybe unless I called you by your first name.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. No, we're talking about Holo.
You do have a heck of a YouTube handle, I will say.
Yeah, so
smart guy is what we like to call him, though.
1438. That seems to be a bit of a level here before this consolidation from basically from March to June. So basically, this is all Q2 consolidation here in TTNP. You can see that from 2023.
Lion's asking if he missed anything. Yes, Lion. As soon as you walked away, AMD pulled off the highs. It said Lion's not looking at the screen. We're going to pull back off these highs and see how he does when he comes back. INM, this was your biggest gainer earlier, Ashan. This is a penny stock. It's really done nothing from the open, though. The volume has died off. There's been really kind of crummy movements on this one. I don't think so. INM kind of not great here. We've got a whole bunch of other plays that are really kind of moving. Lauren mentioning that ASTS at the lows here. We are finally getting a pullback in this name, 13. Finally, first one.
And then watch it rip to 50 later.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Here's Saunders. This was a huge move yesterday. It's actually consolidating. This would actually bode well for a move higher if this continues. Sorry, 13.
Wiz was mentioning GTI, big buy.
GTI.
Well, this one does, basically they're a graphite company. They make graphene and graphite and for, critical materials, I guess. I'm gonna need to know more about this one. Wiz, tell me more if you could. Interesting technology.
This looks like it's just kind of spiked on volume here.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the chart too, and I'm seeing that this thing is constantly suppressed by the 50-day SMA, and it has been, since April. Maybe even you can probably even consider it earlier. This thing death crossed back in March, and it has not recovered whatsoever. So maybe we are getting a turnaround here. First things first, let's see a recapture and multiple closes above the 20-day SMA, and then we can talk about the 50. We start looking like we're getting that curl there, and we're getting those closes above those moving averages. Then I'd say, yeah, this thing is likely turning around and wants to go to the 200.
Real quickly here, ticker HA. This is Hawaiian Holdings. Did you want to talk about this? I know you brought this up in the pre-show fist fight, but do you want to kind of go over what's going on here with ticker HA? I'd be happy to read you the news from today. Then we can kind of discuss it. I don't know if there's necessarily a trade here, but I did want to cover this. Figure we might as well do that while things are kind of dying off. By the way, SPY, maybe the buyers are stepping back in here. We'll get back to that in a sec. Hawaiian Holdings shares are trading higher following a report suggesting the period for the Department of Justice to complete its regulatory investigation of the merger proposal with Alaskan Airlines has expired. This means the two companies are now one step closer to completing the deal and will now require approval from the U.S. Department of Transportation. You can see ticker HA back up to a 17 3/4 handle. What do you make of this news, 13?
So this is much more in the direction that they want to be heading when it comes to this merger. This was a big hurdle to get over. As you recall, the JetBlue Spirit Airlines merger was dismantled because of the DOJ. So this is actually much better. Now they are Alaskan Airlines is trying to acquire Hawaiian for $18 a share. So not really a trade here, in my opinion. You got your 27 cents away from being at the buyout price. So I think the move is already in. I don't think there's going to be anything really here to capture unless you want to pick up a quarter. So that's really it. This if this goes through and the only hurdle is the Department of Transportation and they get over that, this thing is probably as good as merged. So that's why it's trading up to almost 18 because investors are thinking, okay, well, this is happening then.
Do you think this has anything to do, or do you think this is going to come into play with any other airline mergers or talks of mergers at all? Didn't we have a JetBlue and Spirit saga not long ago? And so I'm just wondering if this is going to kind of change things across the M&A front.
Well, maybe because they'll, if another airline tries to merge with another, they'll and this ends up going through, they'll probably reference this. But
yeah,
remember, they didn't win a case.
Right.
The DOJ just kind of, I guess we'll say, sat on their hands.
I was going to say they kind of let it expire. Like if we compare that to options trading, they just went past expiry and just let the options expire.
And
MLGO
I really like Line Atlas's comments. They are terrible right now. They are so. What am I looking for? They're basically cash losing machines at this point.
Cash losing machines. Boy, that doesn't sound good at all.
But the whole point here for even thinking about Hawaiian Airlines was to take that trade on the merger going through. This trade is over, in my opinion. It's done. Unless something, the Department of Transportation says, no, we're not merging it, or we're going to push back on it, we're going to take you to trial or whatever, then you might have an opportunity. But for now, I wouldn't touch Hawaiian. It's done.
Okay. Astis continuing to hit the lows there. What else we got here? RR still at the VWAP, although failing. TTNP, how are we doing here? This pulled back, halted to the downside. Good job being active on those trades there.
Lunar getting mentioned. That's
Tom,
coming.
take care of yourself. Great to see you again.
Lunar coming back up. It's getting back to the consolidation from pre-market and the opening minutes here. So got to get through this consolidation. We'll know that we're through it once we get over 510. What else you guys got for me?
I'm just kind of looking around here.
You have a good one?
Yacht insurance guy in Florida, the big thing about Nvidia here, kind of watching the broader market, right? This thing is really seemed to be what's driving this big bounce that we've seen in the market. Really kind of been watching the Qs and the SPY here. Both of them seem to kind of be rolling over to the lows. Discussion we just had here is, do we continue to break down? Maybe do the dip buyers step in here? I think Nvidia is going to go with whatever way the regular market goes here.
Hold on a second. I got to check on something here with the SPY. We got as high as
I've got
560.84.
560.80. Yeah, I have 560.87, but I could be off by a few cents there.
So what's interesting about that is that we tried to start filling the gap, and then somebody came in and said, "Oh no, this is good enough for me," and started selling. Like, we literally started to fill the gap. I was expecting that gap to fill. Day's not over yet. It still could, but that was interesting to see that it got slapped right down as soon as it started filling that gap. Christopher saying took Disney long from 89.40. If what I'm seeing is true, then there might be an opportunity here with Disney, because it seems like they're getting their act together with some of their content. Now, I know that the parks are a different question at this point.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to their streaming service, which is a big money loser, they need that to start hitting on all cylinders. So if the content is going to start getting better, then that might help turn it around. I have a feeling that it's going to try and trade up to 95, and it could get rejected, but it might not break beneath 90 if it does get rejected. We'll see if that's what happens.
Lunar here back above the VWAP. Volume actually increasing. We'll see if Lunar can get above 5. A little bit of size there. 510, your day high.
Yep. And that's the one to get over. And look at that. I mean,
Bitcoin lost that 60K handle. We
had triple top right out at the open with Lunar, and that's kind of what led to the downside. Now we're trying to test that level again. Like I said, 510, that's the level to get over. We'll know that we're going to try for 532 once we see higher prints in that. SQQQ now back to 8.
Back to 8.
Back to 8.
Back to 8. We're up 14 cents. I'll tell you what, this is going to trade a lot better. This will actually make better day trading as opposed to hedging when it reverses. I'm looking forward to that. And in fact, isn't the TQQQ in that? Yeah, see, this is $70. This is where I want SQQQ to be. Right around this price. It'll just make for some better trading here. Even if you take a look here on TQQ, this is a good intraday $1.50 move there to the short side.
Christopher, that makes sense to me too. We still need to see the recapture of 90, and we might not even get that today. It might happen tomorrow or Thursday. So I'm right there with you. Those levels definitely not till at least the earliest next week. Absolutely. Not letting this institution dump their stock and hold the empty bag, which I think you're still talking about AMD and NVIDIA. Take care, Florida Yacht guy, insurance guy. Go get those yachts insured.
Decent day here today, despite the F up on TTNP, still flagged the right stock. That's a good sign. And don't forget, we still got Anne Marie coming to talk about PanW, which has been a huge winner. Huge winner. Someone else, I think it was Chris. You guys are trading CrowdStrike in sympathy with PanW. CrowdStrike going the opposite way here, clearly.
Yeah.
The Widowmaker is for nat gas, though.
Yeah, that's Boyle. That's the Widowmaker.
Yeah, that the SQQQ, TQQQ, much more reasonable to trade than Boyle. What was the other one? Boyle and
The TQQQ might be the divorcee maker, but definitely not the Widowmaker.
what's the other one? What's the Boyle inverse one?
Is it cold?
Yeah, cold with a K. Thank you. KOLD, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Ultra short Bloomberg. That's what it is.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. See, thank you, Born. Yeah. Thank you, Born. You guys are awesome. See, we can always rely on our chat. We've created a environment where the chat is reliable.
Our chat and us, we're phenomenal back scratchers.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
scratching the backs.
I actually have a back scratcher. It is probably older than me. My grandma gave it to me when I was a kid. It's a back scratcher shoehorn combo. I still use it. Oh, man.
It takes care of you from top to bottom.
Man, the jokes, let them keep coming. Let them keep coming, folks. Floodgate them out here. QQQ going, so going down.
Oh, good.
So we are pulling back here. We've talked about wanting to get a pullback. Looks like we're getting that. I mean, we've run up so much recently, still at 558. So 555 was a level on the upside that we took out on this run up. 13, what do you suspect we do at 555 if we retest that on the way back down? I would imagine there's going to be at least a little bit of a bounce there.
On which one?
SPY 555, the 555 level that's been in play for us for a while. Yeah, I had QQQ on the screen and I'm talking to you about a different stock. My apologies.
Yeah, that's what I was I had to clarify. So coming down to 555, the interesting thing about that is it's also going to test that trend line that we drew from the October bottom of last year. So I think that there may be some brief support, maybe for a number of days, very very small number of days, like 2 or 3, and then if the market continues to look weak, it'll probably end up falling through. But I think 555 is going to provide some support. It's a support turn resistance level, resistance turn support level. We've seen that from the way it's traded before. So being up here above it now, I would wholly expect it to be a support level once we visit it again.
Market Sniper, unfortunately, we can't do that, dude. We cannot do that. We are not cutting it short. That is not what we are doing. We've explained to you a number of times, in order to keep the stuff free, we need to do some things on this channel. However, what I will do, just to make sure that we get all of our bases covered, is I will deliver this feedback to our shows people, one of which might be in the background right now. Let me deliver this.
Reading that and going, oh, shit, more work.
I'm actually, I hope I don't get attacked for putting this feedback in the, let's see.
Well, don't worry, it'll all be internal.
I know, I'm kidding.
All right, what are we looking at, folks, besides a market that's apparently leaking?
All right. Feedback posted, Market Sniper. Feedback posted. Lion Atlas still can't spell my name right. That scratcher is so old, it will be worth a lot of money. Rayan. Well, here's the thing. I don't know how much it's actually going to be worth. There have been a number of cats that have chewed on it over the years. A dog, too.
So it's got character.
It does have character. Remember, just because you have character doesn't mean you are. Reverse that. Just because you are a character doesn't mean that you have character. Now, with this thing, I actually think that the benefit that it provides me is just that's worth more than whatever monetary value someone would place on it.
I'm looking at this 558 level. What Buzz Lightyear? What time frame are you looking at? Because I have my daily up, and I'm looking at the 200 EMA, and that's down at 507.50. So I'm just curious what time frame you're looking at. JPM upgrades EVH. Let's see what that looks like. Well, this has been been recovering pretty nicely. Silver Cross back in a couple weeks ago, on August 7th, looks like. Recapturing the 200-day SMA today. No, I'm sorry, yesterday. We're going higher.
Which
today.
one? Which name? I didn't switch the screen.
This is EVH, the one that Cindy Osborne was, the one that Cindy Osborne was saying that JPM upgraded to price target of 45. But are you looking at the 5-minute? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and we're losing it now. Gotcha. Okay, thank you. But if they put up the gas of the BA short. Where's Easy Mike, the Crow, Becca?
Easy Mike is here. Easy Mike is here. I haven't seen Crow. The last time we saw Becca, she said that she's doing other things in the morning. So I think everybody's still okay. Crow, I guess, is the one we really need to check. Maybe we need to do Smoke Tuna. Can we do a wellness check on Crow? Make sure everything's gooch with
make sure his feathers are still green and have dead presidents on them.
Oh, good times.
So let me take a look at the.
And by the way, VIX continuing to trade up here, 1541. So we're going to see if the VIX continues to climb. That was one thing that we really need for any type of extended sell-off.
You know, I wonder, Chris, with Christopher, with Boeing, if this doesn't go all the way down to 170, it seems like there's a consolidation channel that that begins just underneath there at about 169, 169.80. So that's kind of interesting. Obviously, we're not going to try to catch the bottom or anything like that, but I'm just kind of looking at the chart and seeing that and thinking maybe this goes a little bit lower. But hey, it's been a great short. Well done.
ALLG getting mentioned. I did notice that this was on the scanner earlier. This doing its secondary spike here. We had that first pop there, came all the way back in, actually went red after that pop. Now it looks like we're going here again.
Going to 90. Now that's pretty bold. I've kind of been thinking to myself that we might see 115 at some point because that's kind of where it was bottoming out in 22. So going to 90, that's okay. I see what you're talking about. You're thinking we're going to the pandemic low. That's wild to me, but I don't want to harp on it because it's totally possible with all the negative headlines they've been getting lately. You're doing awesome. Well done, dude. All right, is QQ still pushing up? Yes, we are. Show me that weakness. If AMD closes under 160, I may play the short. Where's it at right now? Well, under 160. Oh wow. Okay, so I had a line here at 162.30. I don't remember when I put this in, but where did we end up going to? 162.04. Not bad. Not bad.
MGNI new highs here, 1337. It's got elite price right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's just that line atlas. Boeing has got a lot of other issues too. I mean, we're getting cracks on fuselages. We're stranding astronauts in space. I mean, they need a win soon. Maybe they have.
They could use a couple, to be quite honest.
Well, yeah, but like maybe they have like a military contract or something that that happens with one of their aircraft that helps lift the stock. It's very hard to know. Right now, it does, Born. It absolutely does. Airbus is the better aircraft maker right now.
Sure seems that way.
Now, one thing I need to take a look at. What's RTX today? Oh, this thing has been amazing.
Jay, Easy drank a bunch of sake over the weekend and changed his handle. That's actually kind of funny. That's actually kind of funny. Jay might be hitting you up for a golf round in October, by the way. Keep it under your hat.
I might have to trim RTX.
What's RTX doing here today? This was a long-term hold for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is hanging out at all-time highs. So, and it's the RSI is very extended. I might need to take a little bit off the table here.
So here, this is an interesting comment. This is what we've kind of been talking about. Elon here says, despite the flush, I would long on this bounce back for a day trade. So we've talked about the buy the dippers really kind of being conditioned to buy the dip, and we're seeing that some more here.
There's going to be a time when that's not going to work, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't know when that is.
I really hope it's not our community that gets throttled with that.
Well, as long as we keep, reiterating that message that this is, not going to be the case all the time. But when there'll be the time when the whole buy the dip trade doesn't work, just as every, trade that we've themed on, everything that we've traded on before works.
Theme that we've traded on. Yeah, let's go.
It works until one day that theme is done or it's off and it doesn't work anymore. And anybody that still thinks that it will ends up getting crushed.
We are definitely seeing some reversals here from this morning in some of the names. Most notably are going to be Netflix, AMD, and Apple. So 3 of those bigger tech names really kind of coming off that initial move. Remember, that initial move coincided with a SPY running out of the gate up to that 560 area. We've turned around since there. See if we get down to this 555 level. Interesting 5-minute candle on the SPY, says Dustin. Here's your 3-minute chart. 5-minute candle would be a really big bounce candle here. Keep in mind, though, that happened on low volume.
Oh, gosh, I love this.
Which?
Look at NVIDIA.
Okay.
Remember how we draw trend lines?
Do you want the bigger daily chart trend here? Thing?
If you have the trend line on there, it's looking good. It's looking good right where it's at. Well done, Easy Mike, on costs.
We drew this trend line together when we talked about NVIDIA. What was that? Was that
last week, I think?
Yeah, this was last week. That wasn't yesterday. This was, I think, right in here. I think it was when we were testing at 50, Wednesday or Thursday of last week.
So that's interesting. Now, this is something where we could see the price reverse and come down a little bit before going back up to test and break through it. Remember, we have earnings in 8 days, so that kind of price action could happen between now and then. I think it's not until after earnings comes out that we're going to really start to see the weakness in NVIDIA.
This ran right into that trend line and backed off. This will be interesting to see if this does trade back to that 120 area, which is where we find that 50-day.
Yeah.
Smoke Tuna mentioning APDN for a possible day trade here.
Applied DNA Sciences. So
this looks like it curled back to its VWAP, was unable to take that out.
Why is it down so much? Who official says Mpox is not the new COVID, calls for coordinated response. We were talking about that like a couple of days ago.
We gave that to you early. We were one of the first groups on that. We were the ones out here telling you not to worry.
Yeah. There's going to be some day trades in these names, especially now that they've got that relative volume. So let's take a look at some of those ones we were trading yesterday. Did they pop in the morning and then just end up going down? Looks like that kind of happened. Look at for example, look at GOVX. We got a little pop, I think, out of the gate there. Yep. And then it just went to 6 and a little bit higher than that. And we're just leaking. So that trade's probably over, especially with that news kind of tempering expectations.
Walter Lyons, that's interesting stuff that you're saying there about Bookmap and all of that and your experience there. I tell you what, people are all over the board. You are not the first person that I have heard to say that. Not at all. Interesting stuff there. Yeah, Smoke Tuna saying GovX was called by the crow for weeks. He was even adding beer emojis to those calls. So, like I was saying, wellness check. Make sure everything's cool.
Zond coming back. Okay. GTI getting mentioned again.
Man, Matsuyama's cat. If that were me, I would be furious, Jay. I'd be furious. I'm just trying to provide for my family too. That would, man, government red tape. Just less of it in any way possible. Less. I don't care what country you're in.
Dare we try some Tesla long here? That's
so here, let me bring that chart up, because that's Tesla's had an interesting morning. Okay, let's just face it. We drifted up in the pre-market. We spiked out of the open into a resistance or into a reversal, and we have been unable to firm up here. The rest of this all happened before the market started moving down too. Good morning, stay focused. Great to see you. Great to see you.
Just reading what Walter Lyons was saying.
Great.
You know, I mean, I don't think you'd be laughed out of this room, because there's a lot of perspectives in here, and
no, we don't do that. The only thing, the only way to get laughed out of this room is to constantly be trying to agitate and troll. If you are trying to understand something about the market, you're in the right spot, and it doesn't matter what side of that issue you're on. It doesn't matter what your knowledge level issue or what your knowledge level is. If you're trying to learn about stocks, market strategy, perform that whole thing, you're going to be fine. If you're just trying to troll and you're just trying to bring up comments that don't really help anybody, like I said yesterday, do not let the door hit you where the good Lord has split you.
Thanks, Dad. So anyway, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I know you are.
Shaka mentioning SHOT. I still like the idea of this one. This is an interesting company, and if you look at the daily chart, it looks like it's trying to turn around. It's currently trying to recapture the 20-day SMA. Let's see that happen first. I want to see some actual curling happening here, because it's just been constantly moving down with several stops to breathe. So let's actually see some recapturing of these moving averages. But I do like this idea. Safety Shot is the company that makes those beverages that help reduce blood alcohol content.
No, Amanda, that's not necessarily true. We accept Packer fans here. I mean, after all, 13 is a Packer fan, and we brought him on camera. So we definitely are accepting of everybody.
I'm certainly in the crosshairs.
Oh, man. I will say, someone was asking me the other day about, like progression and work and development and professional development and personal development. And one of the things that I was saying is I had no idea how great things can be when you find a job that doesn't feel like a job. And this is kind of where I'm at in the position that I'm at now. A large part of that has to do with the fact that I spend 90% of my day interacting with the community that makes up this business. And I just got to say, it is a new feeling for me. It is one that I don't ever want to let go of. And I don't know if I have enough time left in my life to thank all of you for really kind of just boosting the way every day goes. I'll put all the details aside, missed trades, made trades, football stuff, whatever, put it all aside. Days are better spending it with the community. And
and people like Junaid.
Yeah. And people like Junaid.
So, thank you.
Junaid just waits till I start going on a really positive rant, then shows up to take all of the credit. That is a pro move, Junaid. That is a pro move.
I'm a little sad because, yeah, that's exactly what I did. Now it's a little bit predictable. You know what I mean? So, yeah, because you said, thankful community. I was going to be like, yeah, you're welcome, dude. But thank you for stealing your thunder. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
What do you got coming up?
We've got Kartoon Studios. It's always good to talk to Andy. There's so many cool things that they're doing in the entertainment space. So, they just recently reported some great results in Q2. So we'll talk about that, but we'll also talk about what's in the pipeline as we look ahead as well. So some great conversations coming up. Then, of course, after that, you and Anne-Marie will be back to talk some options trading as well.
Be sure to stick around for that, because we're going to break down this PanW trade like a fraction. Junaid, good luck. 13, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, folks. Have a good one.
And of course, our producer wants me to let you know that you've got All Access, you've got Anne-Marie, and then you've also got Tech Tune Up with my man, Paul. So it should be a great time. But as I mentioned, we've talked to Andy many times, as he is the CEO of Kartoon Studios. A ticker is TOON. All Access starts right now. Andy, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you again, Sinead.
Good to see you as well. And of course, with no disappointment, your glasses match the outfit. I love it. It's what I look forward to the most. You had some great results in Q2. I want to talk about that here shortly. But for the folks at home that are not familiar with what is it you do, give us a quick brief overview, please.
We make children's cartoons. We distribute children's cartoons, and we license the consumer products based on the characters of those consumer product cartoons.
And many of those cartoons I have seen with my nieces and nephews for sure. Let's talk about Q2. You've had, the entertainment business is so tough, I feel, especially with the headwinds that are in that aspect of it. But with your Q2 results, to me, you did quite well. What are some highlights that folks can take away from your results?
Well, we had revenues are up. All of our individual units, Beacon Media, our ad sales unit, revenues are up. Our mainframe production unit in Vancouver, revenues were up. We had increased profits at Frederator, our young adults broadcast service, up, increased subscribers for Kartoon Channel, increased territories where Kartoon Channel is now broadcast. I think we're up to 87 territories worldwide. The rankings inside the Apple App Store continue to be above all of our competitors. We're ahead of Netflix. We're ahead of Disney Plus. We're ahead of Max. We're ahead of YouTube Kids. We're 4.9, virtually ahead of PBS Kids, ahead of Nickelodeon, ahead of everybody. Go straight to the App Store. Those are the user rankings. So we see that as a bellwether of where we are going, because everybody that comes to the channel likes it better than the options that are available to them. The hallmark of the kids channel is safety. Everything is highly curated. If you're a parent, you know that you're not going to have to worry about anything that's on there, seeing things for your kids that are inappropriate. So pretty much across the board, revenues are up everywhere. And also costs are down. We have a new CFO, and our costs dropped by 39% in the most recent quarter. So everything is kind of moving in the right direction, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, so far it looks like they have been. And I'm glad you brought up the safety aspect of it, because I wasn't kidding. I do watch some of the cartoons that you have with my nieces and nephews, and I'm always kind of paranoid to make sure that I'm not showing them anything I shouldn't be, because no one wants to get yelled at by my cousins and brothers and sisters, right? So that is very important standpoint as a guardian, if you will. You mentioned quite a few competitors in your Q2 results there. You have things that are available on Amazon Prime channels, Roku, and all the others as well. It is a competitive space. I said that at the top of the show here. Why is being a kids-focused streaming service still a good strategy, no matter how competitive things currently are? Well,
we always are going to have more kids coming into the world. Our audience turns over every 2 or 3 years with new customers. So it's a space we know. It's a space I know personally. I've been in this my whole career. I started off as a writer. I think I used to write Scooby-Doo and the Smurfs and the Flintstones and all the Hanna-Barbera shows. And it's a very robust and vibrant field. And when you get a hit, the numbers are staggering, because it's not just like a hit in some other area of entertainment. You get the consumer products, which means you get the toys, the video games, the publishing, the apparel, the backpacks, the sleepwear, the school supplies, the stationery. And I've had the good fortune to be a part of a number of very big brands that have hit on all of those. And we think we've got several of them now cooking.
You have also the Stan Lee IP library as well, right? So that contains hundreds of never before seen characters from the creators of Marvel Comics. You've got Cartoon Studios that you're working, in terms of maximizing financial potential from that IP as well. How are you involving AI in this? Everyone's looking to figure out how AI can be a part of it. I've seen it from ChatGPT to graphics to videos now. I'm seeing that are almost realistic as possible. What's your work with AI? What's the game plan in the pipeline that people can expect?
Well, we started looking at AI a couple of years ago, and we reached out to NVIDIA, and we began meeting with NVIDIA and being guided by them. Myself and others in the team have been up to NVIDIA many times. They've been down here. So that's kind of been our guide, if you will. It's a very it's an important area that we have to be very cautious in, because there is a lot of sensitivity in the creative community. People are concerned about their jobs being replaced, quite candidly, and some will, and some new jobs will be created. But by and large, there's going to be a lot of efficiencies. They're going to be in dubbing, they're going to be in script writing, they're going to be in storyboarding, they're going to be pretty much in every area across the board of our pipeline. And we're already seeing material savings going on, and that's helping us to cut our cost structure and become increasingly competitive in this space.
You're increasing your revenue, you're decreasing your costs. We talked about your IPs and the plethora of things that you have to show and get entertainment value of as well. Is there anything else that I am missing that the viewer should know about that uniquely positions you to take advantage of the current state of the entertainment business?
Well, I think if you look at the big studios right now, they're all down, whether it's Disney, whether it's Warner, whether it's Paramount Global. They are, in many cases, burdened by large obligations that they already have, whether it's sports or this or that. They have significant debt. We have no debt. We have no obligations. We are very, very focused. We have a very clear mission. We have 3 tentpoles now, and that's it that we're focused on. Kartoon Channel, which is our streaming service that is doing so well. It is already in profit, I should add. Our second tentpole is the Stan Lee business. If you've ever seen the Avengers, if you've ever seen Spider-Man, if you've ever seen Iron Man, if you've ever seen any of those characters from Marvel, they were created by Stan Lee, and we are very fortunate and privileged. I see Stan Lee is in the background, one of the pieces of artwork that we're involved with him right now with the prominent artist. We have all of Stan Lee's IP post-Marvel. It was a book of about 200 properties, and we are bringing them out into the marketplace. So Stan Lee is a proven commodity, and we have now a Stan Lee store on Amazon. We have a Stan Lee channel on YouTube. We have a very prominent, actually the largest distributor of digital and physical products selling Stan Lee content products. They only do, alongside ourselves with Stan Lee, they do Marvel and they do Star Wars, period. So we're very privileged to be working with the Stan Lee business. And in New York Comic Con coming up in October, we're going to announce the new content. And we have some very, very exciting content coming from Stan. And then the third pillar is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is the single most successful children's brand of all time. It's done 80 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars of sales. The property went into public domain in the last 2 years, 75 years after the death of the original author. And we had been preparing for that and ready for it. We notified the Walt Disney Company that we were going to be doing our own version of Pooh. We have a version that we've developed, which is stunning with AI. And we're very excited. We have the trailer, and my head of creative affairs said to me last week, when you see this trailer, I'm only going to say 3 words to you: better than Disney. I said, don't say that, because what Disney did was brilliant. But I have to say, I've seen it and it's spectacular. And we're very excited to be bringing that into the marketplace. So,
I'm excited to see what you do, especially, I think it's next year that Winnie the Pooh animated series comes out, right? That's what you had mentioned?
Correct.
Awesome. Should be some good stuff to look out for. Now, the floor is kind of yours. I know we covered about so many topics in terms of your Q2 results, AI, what's in the pipeline as well. The floor is kind of yours. If you want to make an elevator pitch to possible new investors to Kartoon Studios or anything I haven't covered, it's all you.
Well, I would just say thank you. Thank you. I would just say, if you've ever seen Spider-Man, if you've ever watched a Winnie the Pooh episode, or you've ever watched a streaming service, then you know what our business is about, because those are the 3 areas that we're focused on right now. We've got a lot of headwinds. Our Kartoon channel streaming service is in profit. The other 2 have a tremendous brand equity, and they're going to be.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, Andy, as always. And we look forward to more great news and future conversations as well. Bless
your heart. Thank you.
Absolutely. You got it. That is Andy Heyward, who is the CEO of Kartoon Studios. Again, the ticker is TOON. And that was today's All Access. And, the company, to me, the results are good. And you just heard from Andy about how they're increasing revenue, decreasing costs. But it's always cool, because when I went on their website, maybe 6-7 months ago, when I personally started to have a conversation with Andy, I had no idea they were involved in so many different projects. Just learning about Winnie the Pooh and their upcoming series next year, that's going to be a fun and interesting one to kind of keep notice on as well. But appreciate you guys, chat, for hearing that conversation out. Ryan, you can give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come on back. And my producer just doesn't want you to come on back. There you go.
Oh
everybody just
my
wants to click
God.
on
I
it.
gave you 5 thumbs up. The producer put me on late.
That's
I ended up
AT.
Dude, I
That's
mean,
AT.
I'm out here trying. I'm out here trying to help Zunaid, and we got all, man, AT.
It's not my fault. It's the other brown guy. Can I say that? I don't know if I can say
No,
that. Well,
you can't. Dude, what the F, dude?
I just look at Anne Marie's face. I'm not going to put her on camera, but
You did that. You did that.
I'm allowed to do
FYI.
that. If you did that, it would be this in a minute. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Anne
Oh,
Marie,
man.
give us a thumbs up and we'll bring you on.
She gave you 2 thumbs up.
Yeah,
just
she
to
did,
make
just
sure.
to make sure.
Look how red my face is from laughing.
The things I can get away with, it's always great. I love it.
All right, Anne-Marie, let's get Zunaid out of here and get back down to
Bye.
press tag. Zunaid, good job in the interview.
See
All
ya.
jokes aside,
Bye.
thanks
Good
for the
luck,
laughs.
guys. Absolutely.
Anne-Marie, we have a lot to cover, though, today, because all jokes aside here, we've got a big trade on our hands that you gave out last week. That's, of course, Palo Alto Networks, ticker PANW. I say we dive into that, talk about how we're going to triage/close this, and then maybe we'll roll into another trade here. What do you say?
Sounds fantastic.
All right. You have done it again. PanW, another great trade here. What are we looking at?
Okay, so for a quick recap, if you missed the last time we talked about this and we put it together, we had a trade and we talked about using the ATR and what the market makers were saying. And we looked at this heavy congestion zone and we said, hey, listen, chart could come into this 365-ish area. So let's make that our middle strike. And so true to form, the chart did exactly what we thought it would. Now, what's happened is that we've got a pretty good size move. I'm going to go to the weekly so we can do the measurement. And I'll tell you a little bit about what normal traders do and what we did and what might happen in these kinds of situations. So for the last earnings event, and I'm doing this to jog my memory, Ryan, so forgive me, high to low, $24. Okay, so we were looking about $24. This one was 100 and something. But we're looking normally at about 20 something dollars from the move. Okay, so we are right at the $30 mark. So we're expanding a little bit wide, but we're coming into clear resistance. Now, this is a sweet spot, but here's what happens when traders sell butterflies. Because butterflies have a much higher probability of being correct if we sell them, when we buy them, people are willing to sell them to us all day long because they think to themselves, these guys are going to lose their money. I'm going to sell it to them. But because we're so organized about what we're doing, most of the time when we do win, we win much bigger than we normally would see. So what happened here on the 13th of September is when we sold our butterflies to the upside, everyone from the market maker perspective said, these guys are knuckleheads. I'm going to sell it to them all day. And so they sold it to us. We bought it, but now they're on the hook for all our profits. And so when the volume is thin, like it's sitting right now, 355 to 365 to 375, look, very thin price action right here. And so what that means is trying to sell that butterfly in one single piece becomes quite a bit difficult. So if you're having trouble selling all of your butterflies or part of your butterflies here, I would suggest wait a couple of days, let the volume settle itself out. Here's the fantastic thing. As long as we do not close by September the 13th, as long as we do not close above, say, 367, 368, which is where I think we choke out. Actually, really all the way to 370, and we'll still make a ton of cash. And so for those of us not being able to get out of the spread immediately, you can do two things. You can call your broker and say, please force this trade. I want to get out. And if you've been around for a long time, they will say, all right, whatever. What do you want to do? And they'll force the trade for you, just so long as you're not asking for gigantic amounts. But what's happening, you can see, do you see? I don't know if you can see this, but this has moved from $2.15 to 0 to now 90 cents sitting in that space. And it's because traders are trying to get themselves in and out of these particular positions. So the good news is we're sitting in a ton of profit. The bad news is we aren't able to extricate as quickly as we would like to. And so at the end of the day, we have to do the most difficult thing there is for a trader to do, and that is be patient. Be patient with the motion. And
Indeed, that is hard to do, especially with these things. I find myself going through that too. So I'm glad we're covering this.
Yeah. And there's a level of anxiety, but here's the big thing. Here's what I want you to think about. You're winning, and the guy on the other side who has the position is losing. So he's the one on the back foot. So just think about it that way and realize you're sitting in the catbird seat. And sometimes in the catbird seat, you're just going to want to wait for that bird to move in the place that it needs to be, because you are sitting in the sweet spot. All right. So not to fret. It looks tougher than it is. And at the end of the day, I mean, this was such a good textbook trade. I mean,
it was.
Kapow. It was just absolutely textbook. So if that's where you're at, just realize this, and you'll be fine. We will actually talk about it again on Friday.
Okay,
right?
cool. Now we do
just as a quick.
We do have another question here regarding this trade. So let me go ahead and ask it. This comes from Amanda. In the put butterfly, is there any advantage to stripping off one wing and one center strike and letting the rest of the vertical expire?
We need to get Amanda in some bigger spaces to chit chat with us. She's got
you know what? Let's pump the brakes on that, because Amanda has taken this thing recently where all she does is insult the Chicago Bears and the Chicago Bears fans, which is me. So let's just pump the brakes on this. We'll work something. I'm just kidding, Amanda.
All right,
I had to carry that joke.
Gotta figure out who butters your bread, Amanda. Come on.
Okay, we will do that though. But as for her question, I am serious about asking her question. What do you think we can do here?
Here's the interesting thing. Yes and no. And here's why that's a tough question to answer, Amanda. The real question is, what kind of advantage will I have taking profit off of the butterfly on the put side versus closing a leg and leaving the spread with expanded risk? Now, I would say leaving the spread with expanded risk is a much more difficult thing to do. And it's not in the skew of how much will I make off the long end versus how much might I lose if I bet in the wrong direction. I would say close the whole butterfly or do nothing at all. Legging out opens up too much risk. So for instance, this put butterfly here, it's an 11-cent debit. If we go to the 310, 300, you might get 20 cents, but you're opening up $10 of risk. And that is exogenous shock that you really don't want to be even remotely a part of, in my mind, at all. But, you know, I'm an old lady. And so I would say, yeah, I'm going to watch for cracks in the sidewalk because I'm liable to trip on them. And that would be a big crack in the sidewalk.
Okay, there you go. All right, so is that all we had here on PanW, at least for the time being?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Let's
Good.
go
Well,
to the next earnings event.
let's do that. But I want to congratulate everybody that we kind of stuck through this. We've been talking about some of these trades a lot. I really love it when we have one from inception and then we actually talk through the event and then the close. So congratulations to everybody that took that PanW trade. We're just out here printing. Emery, what is I think the next one here is CrowdStrike, right? We had a number of people
Yes.
talking about CrowdStrike earlier today.
Yes. So CrowdStrike is going to be the next one we want to watch. It's moving quite dramatically in the same wheelhouse as Palo Alto. Of course, not suffering. Palo Alto did not suffer like these guys did. And so the question becomes, what are the market makers thinking here? So they report on the 28th. And there's a lot of movement there. Here's the beauty. The volatility is still continuing to spike into this space, but it's not going to be nearly as expensive to put on a trade now versus a trade the day before earnings if we're looking at this. So let's just take a look. I'll show you what we have in progress if you're part of the Benzinga Pro platform. We have the following double butterfly event. We chose the monthlies, so there's going to be a lot more volume in there. And the position we put on was the 280s, 290s, 300s, and then the 230s, 220s, 210s. Now we did that about maybe 2 weeks ago. We just got it really early. And so here we are sitting, maybe a week and a half ago, but here we are sitting in the edge. And the thought was, here's why, here are boxes for sweet spots in the double butterfly. Since then, price action has continually been rising. And if we're taking a look at $37 in terms of where price action is going, and if we take a look at the prior motion, which that's a $50 move for prior earnings. And then this one is, wow, an $80 move for prior earnings. And this one is a $40 move for prior earnings. So very much outsized of the ATR. Now, because of that, I still like the put side because of the width of it. The call side I like, but I get the feeling that it might be a little bit shy. Now, I'm not going to close this. I'm going to keep it. But my thought is, if you haven't taken the September 20th one, it might not be a bad idea if you took that. Hang on. September 20th at 300, 310, and 320. What that will give us is rounded about $40 of upside if it comes into the center strike, which is a little bit closer to the move that we are potentially seeing. Because I have already taken this 20th, I am going to take this on the 27th, So you might go, why are you going to do that? Well, if I don't do that, what I end up having is a long, a little bit of a, it's not super messy, but it is a condor rather than a butterfly. And so I'm moving to the following week so that if it doesn't happen, I'm only down 43 bucks per butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does happen, it's going to, this will be flat, and then I'll be able to make money on this side, right? So it could blow all the way out, go into the 300s, and then move all the way up into 310, giving me that big spread. So I'm thinking, you know, I can eat the 53 bucks that I had here because there's so much more upside if it ends up swelling out to the 310s. So I am going to add that to the Benzinga Pro platform this morning. Okay. And tell the traders about that. But as it sits, if you're keen on this butterfly, this is the one that I would choose. And so it takes up about, you know, $1.10 plus commissions, and you'll have yourself about $890 to the upside. And you can see how that works. Plus, we have a fair bit of time, and we're in the monthly contracts, which are going to have quite a bit more ease of extraction, because the traders, they'll be much more diversified and on different sides of the fence, as opposed to us with Palo Alto, where we're the ones winning, and the guys losing, literally holding the bag, trying to get us out, trying to get us out of the trade as cheaply as they can so that they don't have, you know, a gash wound to the chest, which is what they're experiencing right now.
I'm glad we're not experiencing that. Just going to throw that out there.
Yes.
Just going to throw that out there. Okay. Couple of
wound to the chest. Not good.
So we got 5 minutes left here, and we really should stay right on target here. Do we have enough time to go over another trade? There was a suggestion, or do you want to? Okay,
let's do it super fast.
Do it. So it was Jay's Life that wanted to take a look at ON. Let me make sure I get that. Can you ask her to look at ON? I did get that. Jay, I hope you're still out there.
Okay, so that would be a post earnings trade. This is a topping formation.
Mm-hmm.
A pullback is a nice thing to try here. I would say maybe a short put spread. That might be nice. The short call spread, well, we don't have any catalysts really, but the short call spread, if we go from 38 to 43, that's another $5. If you do a short call spread, it should not be any closer than 48. So you could do an iron condor, 48 to 53, and 38 to 33. That would be what I would look at. I think this chart is going to be fairly choppy. It's had a lot of back and forth over the last several weeks. So definitely not a breakout formation, but you know, it's a good solid brand. Ton of people wear them.
Yeah. Okay. So you're looking at a put spread here. Okay.
Yeah, put spread or call spread or an iron condor. The problem is if we get down into if we get down into where we see major expansion could go, these things are offering pennies. So it might be a long action event that you'd want to go after. Okay. Yeah, meaning a lot of time.
Okay. He's saying, I think ON is going to break above the 44 So he looks like his bias is already there to the long side. So maybe add some time to that trade there.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Now we will finish up with a couple of these questions here. And then Anne-Marie, once we end the show, if you wouldn't mind just hanging out backstage for a minute, I have a question to ask you. But let's go ahead and take some of these questions here. I don't know if you know the answer to this one, and we all know that you're not a tax expert, so it's okay to punt this if you don't have an answer here. I am going to read the discussion from the chat here. Chris is asking, is it true that if you let a contract expire in which you've sold to open rather than buying it back, it's not a realized gain for the purpose of taxes? Now, the answer in the chat here, I think this is right. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you realized those gains when you sold it to open, right? Okay. So I think, so what do you think here, Anne-Marie?
Okay, so unless you are a mark-to-market trader, and please go to your tax professional to confirm, your realized gains are, see, the IRS, they don't suffer fools. Your realized gains come at the point you close your position. That's it. Whether you sell to open or buy to open, completely irrelevant. It is when you sell to close or buy to close. The moment that the trade is completed, those are your realized gains or losses.
So that would also factor in an expired contract, right? That the trade closes when that contract reaches expiry and expires. So that's the answer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. So it's all about the closing.
It's all about, what though, Chris, that's a really good question. And, I often will ask, hey, Anne-Marie, I love that you said consult your tax, but that is exactly the right thing. Everyone here should go consult their tax guy and make sure they're doing everything okay. But I do the same thing. I ask other traders when I have questions about taxes. So, okay, we're out of time here. Anne-Marie, if you wouldn't mind hanging out backstage for just one sec. We're going to be back at this again on Friday. Just can't thank you enough for all the stuff. We're going to send you over to the next show here. Take care, everybody.